You're listening to 1100 KFNX Independent Talk Radio. Right now, we've got the Locksmith Show. Our local listener line is 602-277-5369, and you can reach us nationally on the toll-free line 866-526-1100. Now, here is the Locksmith Show.
Welcome, everyone. We're live and in living color from the Arizona Professional Locksmith Association studios. We have Andrew from Andrew's Lock and Key in the studio. We have Andrew from, I keep forgetting the name of that.
It's AZ Tech Geeks, but it's basically Andrew's Lock and Key right now as well.
And of course, I'm Locksmith Charlie. We want to extend our feelings and prayers to the survivors and loved ones of the victims in Orlando. This running around shooting up bars in the middle of the night is simply asinine. And whether the guy makes a pledge of allegiance to ISIS or not, it seems, from what I've heard so far, that it's just a hate crime against gay people. There was no explosives or anything, which is always typical of an ISIS thing, and there seems to be only him as a connection, so I don't know. But like I said, our hearts and prayers go out to all the relatives and families.
What I heard, he's from Afghani descent, but he's actually born here in like Portville, Florida somewhere.
Port St. Lucie, I think they said.
Port St. Lucia, that's right. But yeah, he was born here, so
it makes him American, which therefore makes it a hate crime, not a terrorist act.
Not a terrorist act.
Let's not freak out, everybody.
Yeah. It could be terrorism, but it's not.
It got me to thinking, am I safe at the end of July, early August, to go to the Aloha convention, or is some radicalized gay Muslim guy going to come and blow up the Aloha convention because he doesn't like heterosexual people?
I hope not, but it's a sad day here in America again. So,
it truly is, and I shouldn't be making jokes about it.
No, but to bring light to the subject,
Yeah. So, I hear that Andrew has been doing some wacky stuff over on YouTube, and he's got more than a dozen hits or something.
I don't know. We're sitting at like 2.5 million minutes watched. The video had a big share on Reddit over this last week, where we got like 170,000 views alone from Reddit, which is amazing. So it's bringing more awareness to the problem that we have in our industry, along with the other service industries. I think, I don't know what it's doing. I love the comments. The comments get crazier and crazier and crazier. We can't read half of them over the radio, but some people don't understand why I did it, and they still don't understand. They think I'm going after the other guy in the video. That's not the intent. The intent is to put a stop to what's going on. Am I trying to play superhero? No, I'm not.
Why not? I am.
Not my intentions. My intentions are to educate the public, and obviously, I guess now people think I've educated this other guy, but they're saying that I caused him to lose his job. It's his boss's thing. According to the YouTube video of his name of his boss, if Tony's out there, please call into the show, because I'd love to talk to you. And I'm sure Charlie would, and so the other Andrew as well.
Wait a minute. If we're talking about the same company, the corporation documents published by Channel 3 and repeated on my thelocksmithpolice.com website clearly show that Ami Hanan owns the company.
Well, the boss's name is Tony, so maybe Tony is Amin Hanan's
American name
and or
pseudonym.
Yeah.
Could be.
Maybe Tony's just not real.
Ami, is your name Tony? Or is Tony you? Or are you playing make-believe with your name?
There was a rather funny comment that was on the YouTube channel that this guy said that if the years of watching Cops has told him anything, 90% of the people who are the criminal or the person in the wrongdoing is named Tony.
And of course, each and every single one of those cops is named Bubba.
Bubba or Bob. And they all have mustaches.
A lot.
I know. Why?
And some of them, or many, maybe more like many of them are, if not naturally, they're shaved bald.
Yeah.
I think that's so the criminals can't pull their hair or something.
Nah. Either that or they've just been so stressed out they lost it all.
That could be too.
Well, and thank you for those guys, the emergency response teams there in Florida. I've heard they've done a good job.
Oh,
So-
dude, they were backing pickups up to the site, throwing guys in the back of pickups and hauling them off to the hospital 2 blocks away in pickups. I mean, not waiting for the ambulance, that's a really good thing. I'd like to see cops throw people in their car and run them off to the hospital a lot more often than they do.
Yeah.
Just because more lives could be saved that way. So, yeah, those guys down there are doing just one hell of a job.
Yeah. We want to thank you guys all for that. And then we've heard that it's been a pretty horrific scene for them. So-
Yeah, and there's some of the first responders that when they walk in and they're having to step over and wiggle their way around 50 dead bodies, that's going to be with them for a long time. I don't know how anybody can erase that from their memory.
Never.
Yeah, it's
No.
just, I'd say that something like that deserves a lifetime of follow-up Valium. I mean,
No, we don't need to keep pumping Americans full of drugs because that's what they want. Dumb down America anymore.
well, at least as much as needed.
Yeah.
Top 10 stupid stoner stories of 2011, and that's somehow related to locksmith stuff?
They're coming across a Huffington Post.
Yeah.
What? There was something else in the locksmith news that I saw the other day.
All right. What was it?
I'm trying to remember now, and it was on my screen a second ago,
Well,
and it just disappeared.
locksmiths don't check warrants or don't care about your marijuana, but cops do. My brother was a locksmith.
I
They
remember
aren't
this.
interested in your
No.
failure to appear bench warrants and your nickel bag of weed. When you lock your keys in your car, locksmiths are more worried you will freak out at the cost of your careless mistake.
Exactly. No, I don't know where that came from. Me and Ryan, back when you were someplace else, we came across that article, and I thought that was really quite funny how that made it into the locksmith news.
Well, it's not nearly as interesting as the baby in the car story.
Yes, that's the one.
I don't
There was
think-
something else new on that one, where the baby was found.
Well, no,
We
the
talked
baby
ab-
was found in the back of the car, but this one says a North Carolina woman called police for help, but ended up in jail after being arrested for failure to appear in court and marijuana possession. Clarissa Johnson called them after locking her keys in her car on Goldenrod Road. When the police arrived to help, they discovered a warrant and took her in for failure to appear and 1.5 grams of marijuana. I don't think that's anything related to the Folly Collins story.
No, but there was something else that was with that story.
Well, do tell.
That's why I thought you were looking at it there. That's when you said that. So, no, that was, never mind.
Well, if you can find us an update, we've got
will.
another 2 minutes, he
I'm
says.
looking. If not, we'll come back with it after the break.
Or in September, whichever comes first. So, likely July, I'll either be taking 4 trips to Tucson or spending a week down there doing about 20 chase branches. For some reason, they want me to do a few each week. And I'm like, that's going to cost you guys about $1,800 in travel fees. Where if I just take one trip down there, it's only going to cost you like $900 or something, or $600. I forget what it was, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince them to figure out their scheduling a little less insanely. And I don't know. Now they're asking me if I want to take an hour off of my travel time to Tucson because I would normally travel an hour to a call locally anyway. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that.
No.
No, I mean, if I've got to drive 2 hours down, 2 hours back, and spend a bunch of money for gas, I'm getting paid for it.
I definitely wouldn't disagree with that.
Trying to get it to come.
Well, we're having
get
a
that.
technical difficulty with Andrew's computer, but we're going to be right back in about 2 or 3 minutes. This is The Locksmith Show. Welcome back to The Locksmith Show, where we're talking about this and that and the other. And while we're waiting a moment for Andrew to come back and finish looking up our content, I want to re-extend my invitation to Mr. Mollusky, who's been doing a billion shows on this and a bunch of other stations, and Senator McCain, and Senator Flake, and all the wannabe senators and representatives. Miss Jones, you listening? For us to figure out who we want to endorse and who we want to represent us, we really do want some answers about, will you help us and change some of the laws in the Communications Decency Act that give Google immunity to conspire with criminals to lie to the public? Will you help change the Telecommunications Act to require phone companies to make sure listings that they cause to be put out in public domain actually relate to the addresses actually have someone that's advertising at that address instead of just providing a pile of so-called virtual addresses for Google to publish? I've invited all you guys to come at various times and be on the program and talk about these issues, and we don't understand why you don't want to talk about what you will or won't do if you get elected. I mean, come on, kids, let's play.
I would love to have any of them on the show and chat about this. Also, I had a Facebook, we go back into that as well. I had a Facebook message about this from a guy that you might even be friends with. He's in part of the Locksmith Friends Online. He just wanted to tell us that not all people from Israel in our industry are all crooks and scam people out of money, because he's been doing it for about 20 years, I believe. He's not going to call in today because he's super busy today, but he'll call in next week and talk to us about it. So,
you know, and any time you want, you can have him call into your studio and you can do an interview and, bring in a pre-recorded. I've got no objections.
No, he's going to call live on the show.
Okay.
He just was busy today. I asked him if he could come on and chat to us about it, but he said this Sunday he was busy, but next Sunday he will. So,
well, I have been saying for years that, 90 to 95% of all the locksmith scammers are typically Israeli nationals, a lot of them here on student and visitor visas. By no stretch of any imagination do I believe that all Jewish people or all Israeli locksmiths are the scammers and not legitimate. There's one company here in Phoenix that I'll talk about called Eagle Locksmith. Roy and Ran came here, and their biggest complaint for the longest time was they couldn't get accounts at supply houses simply because they were Israeli. Well, from time to time, I go out and contract for them. And what I know of my own knowledge is they might quote things a bit higher than I do, but they do quote accurate prices before they send someone out. And when someone goes out, unless some insane complication sets in, those prices don't change.
Yeah.
So, as far as I'm concerned, they're doing things the right way over at Eagle.
Yeah.
And
And to refer to same thing with the comments on our video over it, people are saying that I'm trying to put people into a place that they need to charge what I charge. I don't care what you charge. I could care less. As long as the customer knows it
up front.
prior to you touching anything and you give them the option to whether or not to use you. Don't open a car and then tell them it's going to cost $300 and demand the money while you hold their keys in your hand. And you have no right to take the keys out of the vehicle after you open the door. That was never your right to begin with. So,
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that, because when you perform service on somebody's vehicle that they've asked you to perform, you actually do have a mechanic's lien on the vehicle and you're able to take possession on it. I do believe.
no, you're not. I've had cops called on me twice. I do not touch the keys any longer.
Well, cops aren't lawyers and they don't know all the laws.
They don't know all the laws, but what does it turn into? It turns into a civil matter. So at that point, all they do is ask you to leave, give them the property back. And if you ain't got all your information, they ain't giving it to you. You're gone. So I've had it happen twice.
Well, that sounds like fodder for another video.
Nah, well, you want to get the cops involved, go for it. I'm not dealing with them anymore, especially not in Mesa. They're too trigger happy in that town. And then call me and asking me for money? No. Sorry, guys. You ain't getting any money out of me. My business may be in your city, but I don't respect you at all right now.
Yeah, and I must say that I called and had a conversation. I started with the mayor's office, and they shoved me into the chief of police's office. And I had a conversation with one guy in the chief of police's office and about the scammer issue. And he said, well, who's the victim? Well, we need to have a victim. I'm like, well, when I go down the Broadway underpass, and there's a guy on the other side with a radar, and gravity has made my car go a little bit faster going down that down ramp. Who's the victim there? Well, the state's the victim. Well, then the state's a victim on all these locksmith scams as well. What is the difference? And he could not answer that question.
Because they're not trained to.
Yeah, and they don't want to.
No, because they don't have an answer for it. So anybody out there that think the police have anything to do with it, well, at least in our state, they don't. It turns into a court system. And Charlie himself has filed several complaints.
Well, a couple.
So,
Actually did get one outfit to settle
oh, nice. But
years and years ago. But yeah, the police are demonstrably disinterested, and I really don't get it, because the way I understand things is when the cops go out and arrest somebody or enforce something, they get a percentage of the proceeds for their department. Well, these locksmith scam things are $10,000 a pop. Hello?
yeah, well,
Each phony address that they list is $10,000 a pop. Now, if you're the police chief, do you want to get a percentage of a $100 parking a speeding ticket, or do you want to get a percentage of a $10,000 misdemeanor?
well,
Oh, gee, give me $10, I'll be happy. So I've already got a job. I'm the police chief.
well, they don't. They're more worried about whatever they're worried about. I don't know. I don't know what our police departments do. Pull guns on people for no reason, for sure. So,
And they're especially fond of their tasers. Now, if you don't discontinue speaking, we're going to tase you.
that is very true. No, not all police officers are bad guys either. I've met a few in my life that they're great guys. I'm just not real thrilled with the way that City of Mesa has been acting, or the City of Mesa, too, per se, but the Police Department of Mesa. So,
Maybe I should take my little wandering microphone kit and go over and annoy their public affairs guy and interview them a little bit and see what they have to say about all this.
probably no comment.
Probably,
Or refer to our comment that we said the other day.
or something like, "If you do not leave our police building now, we will tase you," or something.
Well, if that's going, make sure the video is still rolling. So then we can at least have that.
Well, I might have to ask you to come along with a video thing.
I'm not coming around there at all unless I have to.
See? I know. We'll draft Andrew.
He's the cameraman.
Yeah.
We can call him reinforcements.
It's
we go.
highly amateur services.
Well, we have visitors.
Highly
Looky
amateur
here.
service. Amateur 101.
Be seated.
Very amateur 91.
Amateur 91.
we're not even into beginner
Filmed
class
with the classic Note 5 filming capabilities.
There you go.
All cinemat.
I'm not even sure what that is, but
Cinematic is what I meant to say.
as in filming stuff.
Yes.
Well, there you have it. Well, we have a newbie in the studio with us, and as soon as we get done with a little bit of half-hour news and weather and traffic reports, I don't know, every once in a while I call in with a traffic report, like yesterday when the motorcycle was smashed on the highway and there were gaggles of policers and fire trucks everywhere. Mm-hmm. I called in and let everybody know, nothing's going westbound on the 202 I-10, and it's bad going eastbound, and I don't think they put that on the air. I don't know why. Oh, maybe they did.
Oh, give a thumbs up.
Yeah, Norm was live on the air with that report. He
Oh.
recorded you on it.
Norm.
Outstanding.
We miss Norm.
Yeah.
We
But
all miss Norm.
he's got his job. So.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back to the Locksmith Show. Our local listener line is 602-277-5369, and our toll-free number is 866-536-1100. Now here is the Locksmith Show.
Welcome back to the Locksmith Show, where we're live and in living color in the studio, and a new gentleman, Christopher, has joined us.
Good morning, everyone. How are you doing?
Good.
Unfortunately, they're not answering mostly because the phone's not ringing. I got my phone on silent, and of course, the email thing has to go off when the phone's on silent. I'm not quite getting that one. So tell us about your experiences with Diebold in the banking industry, or not.
Well, it's gotta collect my thoughts because there are things I can and cannot say as far as that goes. But it's
It's fun.
It's fun. Just do everyone a favor and don't lose your safety deposit box keys. It's
A little bit tedious to get those things open from time to time.
It can be.
it's more scheduling. If some people, did their scheduling better, I'm sure it'd be great for everyone involved, but no one wants to wait 3 weeks to get their box opened.
No, they do not. So how long you been doing safe work?
Safe work I've been doing since I got on with Diebold, so that was October.
Oh, okay. So you're
But
rather new into the safe. Have you been doing locksmithing prior?
prior, I was doing it for a couple of years.
Nice. Very nice.
Started at a locksmith supply shop with the mother-in-law, and then
Met the guys in the industry out here?
met the guys in the industry, did a lot of my own work, mostly residential and commercial stuff, then got the job with Diebold, picked it up pretty quick, went from being my area being very, very behind to being one of the only areas ahead on work, and the other guys being territorial didn't let me help them catch up their own work.
Yeah, that's our industry. They get very I can't even say the word territorial. Spit it out, Andrew. Over our jobs. I don't know why. There's plenty of work in this town if we all band together, I think, and push the scammers outside of our industry in our town as a whole would really start helping all of us get more work again. So it does hurt us.
Yeah, and I've said from time to time, I know how to do that, just quick, fast, in a hurry. The only problem is that pesky little fifth commandment, as the Lutherans have it, thou shalt not kill. I don't think God would appreciate me very much if I went out and started terminating the scammers.
Yeah, well, sometimes they do it for themselves, or they terminate little teenagers, and that had nothing to do with the scam or the other gentleman leaving. And it's sad.
Yeah.
Not saying that wouldn't happen otherwise, but 2 people lost their lives, 1 seriously injured. So, and 2 other lives are destroyed over it all. And whether that other guy had any idea what he was doing again. But somebody's making the money, and you can't follow the money trail because it is not here in America.
My gut instinct is that with appropriate lawyering, the guy that ran away from the locksmith scammer is probably going to get off, because those guys are trained for combat, because they all have to in that part of the world. They have mandatory military service over in Israel. They can kill people with their hands. So,
But they don't like to fight.
for him to run away in fear of death or great bodily injury, as opposed to killing them in fear of death or great bodily injury, it's a perfectly reasonable act.
Yeah.
And the fact that the guy he was running away from could not control his car was outside of his control.
Yeah.
So I think with some good lawyering, that guy can get off, although it's still going to be probably expensive for him. And it is still a very sad situation anyway. So the first thing everybody has to remember is when you're calling out a locksmith for service, if they tell you, it's usually "and up," and the technician will tell you when they get out there. That very favorite phrase of theirs, "and up," should be a red flag for you. Any legitimate locksmith, when given a particular situation on the phone, from locked out of your house to a car to, I'd like you to come and do a master key system for my entire building. Any legitimate locksmith should be able to give you an accurate quote on the phone, knowing what they know. And there should never be some "and up," and the technician will tell you when they get there.
Well,
And then the second thing that everybody should remember is, if you have a Jeep, Chrysler, Plymouth, whatever, anything Chrysler Corporation, get over to your dealer and get your PIN number, because you need your PIN number to program keys into the vehicle. And if you don't have it, it's going to be a little more expensive, because we either have to burn up tokens with our machines, or we have to call a provider and get the PIN number, and that just adds a little extra onto the bill. So make sure you have your PIN numbers. Get them tattooed onto the side of the car or something.
nah. Or tattooed on your forehead if you lose your key all the time.
Well, there is always that. So did you get a call?
I did. From the same guy 3 times. Wanted to know how much it was going to be to make his Indian motorcycle key. But he called me 3 times in a row, and I tried to send him to voicemail. So,
Well, good.
yeah, that's...
And you gave him an accurate quote first
did.
time.
I did.
Did he like it?
No.
Oh, well.
He didn't like, because I didn't really want to do it today. I could do it tomorrow, I told him. He said that was too long. I said, okay. Gave him a little spiel about scammers. He said somebody told him it was going to be $400. I kind of laughed. So I said I wouldn't call him back.
Yeah, I should have told him to call Todd or Patrick or one of them.
Yeah.
Or Christopher. You got some Indian motorcycle keys?
No, I still need to get some experience in auto before I'm willing to do anything like that.
And motorcycles are a different beast than regular auto.
I can pick a motorcycle key. I can pick the ignition over, but that's about it.
Well,
Yeah, well,
that's half the battle.
I typically don't keep any motorcycle keys just because don't have room for them, and
But I'll tell you what, you can keep stocking them, but it's always the one you need, the one you don't have.
Yeah, and there's so bloody many of them. And the cross references from year, make, and model to key blank are frequently insanely incorrect.
Well, because you can't know if the bike's got a... You could have a Yamaha bike with a Suzuki ignition or a Suzuki bike with a Yamaha ignition. Happens all the time.
Yeah, we had a Moto Guzzi one time that we put a knobby tire on the back of. Just for lack of money.
But some of the newer ones, they're a lot better. But the Oko Guide's not too far off on the newer bikes.
Yeah, I know it's been a problem for years and years, but now that they're kind of getting more standardized and getting into transponders and stuff, they have to be standardized, if you're doing all that. So that would, maybe it makes more sense for me to start getting into doing just the newer ones and not the older ones. I don't know. Do they have a standard OBD port on those?
No, I've never actually programmed a motorcycle because you very rarely see those here in America.
I thought, well, okay, then maybe
Even
not.
on the Ducatis that come overseas, they're not transpondered up. Some, but you have to specially order it that way. Most of the ones here in America have no transponders to them. Just a heads up.
So I've got an email the other day from a guy that wants to know, he opened up his VW Beetle device to put a new battery in it.
Mm-hmm.
The glass chip fell out and broke, and he wants to know how much for another chip. Well, I still don't have any idea what year the vehicle is and whether it's one of those that needs to have the VIN number programmed into the chip or not. And so I'm waiting to hear back from him again. I just wish that when people send an email, that they would include their phone number, even what town they're in. If there's someplace close, I can come and help them. If there's someplace far, far away, I don't mind giving them information. But, if they don't put all the information in their email, it'll be a lot easier for me to just call them back if they give us a phone number.
Yes.
If you had a contact form, you could require that information.
I hate forms. So I don't
Just
like
saying.
sentencing people to fill out a form. And
Name, address, email address, and you got everything you need, Charlie.
And we'll be back after these announcements. Welcome back to the Locksmith Show. We're live and in color in the studio here and getting ready to write Francis his checks. Did you find that update on the Volley Collins story?
No, it was the Volley Collins story. It just said updated.
It just said updated, and it really was.
But I don't remember what the original... They might have updated the story from what they originally put out.
Yeah,
So.
they probably corrected a couple of typos and call that updating. That is something we should do, though. We should make it a point to call up the courthouse over there and follow up on what has happened with this woman. I mean, I think she was in a very bad situation, and my guess, this is just all guessing and conjecture, but I think that she probably needs time in a mental hospital and not in a jail cell is my gist of the whole thing.
Well, if their CPS is anything like ours, they don't really care. They'll just throw you in jail. That poor lady that killed her 3 kids and then stabbed herself, CPS was involved twice, in the last 6 months. Nothing came about it.
Yeah, well, they have historically not been known to do a really outstanding job.
No. Neither did our sheriff's department. In the El Mirage incident a few years ago.
Yeah, well, I think it's time for Sheriff Joe to retire, get himself indicted for criminal contempt of court, and go spend a little time receiving a little bit of what he's been dishing out.
I'm surprised the guy's still alive. He's so old. Isn't there like a limitation of how old you can be to be a sheriff?
I don't think so. I think
I know.
if you're 184 and you can keep getting elected, well,
I
why
know.
not?
He's been around. His terror of rain is over. Should be at least this year.
Well, we can hope. And even Senator McCain, when it came time for him to, I went up to Prescott when he was running and made a little donation, and I really would like to have seen him win. But in his senatorial campaign after that, my feeling is, thanks for all your service. You've done a dandy job. Time for you to retire now.
No. His wife.
I guess he didn't hear me.
Is that what you wrote on the check here?
No.
Making a joke.
Yeah.
Here's part of your retirement fund, Mr. McCain. Have a good time.
Yeah, it's $20. You could retire grandly on $20 if you're a hobo or an FTRA member.
Yeah. Flying down the railroads. Any news from those two?
Two couples it was, and
There was 4 of them.
Yeah, I picked up one couple in Roanoke and took them to Nashville, and then I picked up one couple in Nashville and took them to Albuquerque.
Oh, I thought it was the same couple.
No.
Oh, it was 2 different
Two
couples.
couples that
Wow.
were both carrying a stringed instrument and both doing the whole freight train and running around the country thing.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and young people. The one girl told me she was 20. Now, here's the other really odd thing, if you can imagine this. Out of these two couples, both the girls had ID and both the guys had lost their IDs. I was a little nice when I stopped at some point, usually close to the middle of the night, and got me a room. Well, I got them a room too. Cheap room, but I got them a room, but I made them register with their own IDs and stuff because I didn't want to be responsible if they,
Destroyed it.
peed all over the ceiling or something. I made them, and neither of the guys had ID, but the girls did. And the
Boy.
one girl was 21. The other girl, I didn't ask their ages. It wasn't like I was picking up minors and hauling them across state lines, nothing like that.
No.
They were distinctly old enough. But it was interesting, some of the things they would tell me, and they thought it was just a wonderful experience to go riding across the country in that big old ambulance that I bought.
Yeah. I don't know. I have this big dream about going homeless in 10 years. So all my friends think I'm crazy.
Well, if you're homeless
The key word is homeless.
with
That's-
a decent vehicle,
The key word is homeless. I don't have a home. I don't have a place that I call home. That's what I want. So
yeah, and as long as you've got a wondrous vehicle to live in, it doesn't make any difference.
don't need a
Homeless is-
vehicle to live in either.
well, I guess if you want to be mountain man or something, or forest boy, or
No,
okay.
I don't know. Kauai's calling me back, I think.
Oh, you're going to be the beach bum.
I'll probably be a beach bum.
Well, now that's a plan.
See?
Until-
Even Charlie likes my plan.
Until such time as the hurricanes set in, and
Hey, man, I've been through tornadoes several times.
yeah,
Hurricanes can kill me. Tornado can't kill me.
but being waterboarded by God, can you take that?
I don't know. Oh, I've had to hide on I-29 a couple of times in some tornadoes. We had one come right over the top of the bridge. That was pretty intense.
In Dakota Territory?
I think we were in Nebraska. We used to go in after school, get in our car,
Oh, run down to
and just drive where the storms were at and chase them. My mom hated every inch of it. So,
oh, I thought you were going to tell me you run down to like North Sioux City or something to buy beer when you could buy it at age 18 or something. Or
well, South Dakota was the last state, one of the last states to switch that in the Midwest.
yeah, but in South Dakota you can only get 3.2 instead of the what they call High Point.
High Point, the 4 or 5. How much more?
Well, actually,
3-2.
some of the like Steel Reserve is 8 point
Yeah.
something.
And that's why those boys drink that. Stuff tastes gross.
You know, I went when I was in Nashville. I popped into this one liquor store close to the motel, and I had to tell them how very, very disappointed I was.
Why?
Well, they didn't have any Thunderbird. They didn't have any Night Train. They did have 18 flavors of MD 2020, though.
That is just some of the most horrible alcohol ever.
Yeah, you know what kind of a neighborhood you're in when they have 8 different flavors of MD 2020.
Yeah. You know, the worst alcohol I ever had came from the Philippines.
What was it?
It was their whiskey.
Did it have a name?
I don't remember.
It did that much to his brain cells that he can't remember the name of the Philippine whiskey.
It was horrible. Tasted okay, but whew, that drunk was not anything I want to go back to.
Did you have a bad hangover?
I had a bad headache after drinking for the first 20 minutes. It just got horrible. So, yeah, no, one of my girlfriend's brother brought it back.
Oh, so you didn't go there for some?
No, I've never been to the Philippines yet.
I haven't either. I hear it's a wonderful place. My dad was there for a while before he went to work for the Arab American Oil Company in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia.
Oh, wow.
And I'm apparently responsible for my parents' divorce, you see, because when Dad came to visit in Clark, South Dakota, my nosy behind went and opened up his briefcase and come running into the kitchen where Mom and Dad were holding up, who's this pretty girl? Apparently it's his Philippine wife.
Ooh, whoops.
Or I'm sorry, his Vietnamese wife, Lan. Yeah.
Whoops.
And so that was the beginning of the end of having Dad in my life. Imagine that.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, if he was going to stick around, it probably would have been a lot of drunkenness and a lot of pain that I managed to escape with him being out of the country.
Well, then that's good for you.
Yeah,
Positive
probably. So, do we have any closing subjects?
I don't know. I don't.
Well, then let's
You sure?
reiterate our request for our various senators and representatives and the wannabes for those offices. We would like all of you to come and join us one of these days to talk about the issues that I've presented in the letters that's on the webpage. And
As
I
well
guess-
as Ami Hanan or any of you other.
what
we
come on into
call
the studio. We'll
on
interview
Scrupulous
you.
Locksmiths, please don't hesitate to call in or come into the studio. Open invitation always. I just want to hear your business practices and understand them. And if I'm in the wrong, I'm in the wrong.
You know,
So-
if we have to modify our business model to make what they're making, we'll be back next week, ladies and gentlemen, and hope you all have a lovely week. And don't forget,
Don't get scammed.
call again real soon.
If you like my YouTube channel, please subscribe below. It's over here. I don't know. It's somewhere, anywhere. It's wherever they like to put it. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. Tell your friends. Share my videos. If you have any questions, email me, andrewslockandkeyaz@gmail.com, or don't hesitate to pick up the phone. I answer my phone all the time. 480-437-4022. Thank you, and have a great day.